Welcome, Greek U Nation, to episode number 672 of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Mike Ayalon, CEO of Greek University. I'm a speaker and an author. Our ninth book just came out. It's called From Letters to Leaders, The Legacy of Service. So go and pick up that book on Amazon today. We call these episodes the Fraternity Foodie Podcast because there is nothing like great food to bring college students together. Fun fact, I was watching the show Maxed Out on HBO Max, where a financial relationship coach, Leah Collins, created a game plan for Corey and Nina on episode number 1. They were a young couple struggling to support a family of 4. They had only one income and they had a boatload of debt. And I noticed right away that, of course, Corey was a brother of Omega Psi-Phi Fraternity Incorporated. I did not miss that. And he still had all of those lifelong relationships with his fraternity brothers when he needed advice concerning finances, careers, family life. And Leah, the show's host, she was able to get them to think more critically about inflows and outflows of cash, the amount of debt that they were carrying, and gave some really good options to help them navigate to a better place by showing them how to increase their incomes and reduce their monthly expenses with daycare and all the whole thing. The best part was actually seeing these stacks of cash on their kitchen table that was representing the amount of money they were bringing in each month and how much debt they had accrued. That was really eye-opening when they saw those stacks of cash on the table. So I'm really grateful for the work that Leah was doing there. And I think that she can help college students get into better habits before they end up in financial disaster as adults. So let's talk to the star of the show on our podcast today. Leah Collins is a financial educator, speaker, and host of the hit financial television show Maxed Out, currently streaming on HBO Max and Discovery Plus. Her work focuses on helping people understand how their financial decisions are shaped by real life, relationships, environment, lifestyle, and the moments where money decisions actually happen. She is currently bringing this work to college campuses through interactive financial preparedness programming designed specifically for students. Leah's sessions go beyond traditional financial literacy by incorporating storytelling, fun case studies, and real-life decision-making experiences that allow students to actually see the consequences of their choices in real time. Welcome to the show, Leah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, it is an honor to have you on the show. You know, it's not every day that I get a television star on the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. So you know I am ready. I am hyped for this interview.
Yes, I'm excited.
So you chose Texas Tech for your undergraduate experience. I'm wondering, why was Texas Tech your choice?
Oh gosh, it was a silly decision or silly reason why. So basically, I chose it because my best friend was going there and I did not want to be separate from her. And it was just far enough from my parents that I could have my independence but still close enough to where I qualified for in-state tuition. I had very strict parents, military parents. I wanted to get as far away as possible. But still have that in-state tuition. So it's kind of the perfect balance of freedom and affordability.
Yeah,
And
see,
that's it.
you and I are exactly alike. And I kind of I was worried about this because we make decisions exactly the same way. I grew up in New York City, and Buffalo was about as far as I could get in New York, away from New York City, because it's like an 8-hour drive away, but still
Mhm.
in New York. And so I wanted the furthest place I could get away from my family. I wanted to start without them, in my business. So I
Yes.
got accepted. And why did I choose Buffalo? Because my best friend from Scott was a year older than I
Oh,
was.
really?
He was already up at Buffalo having a good time. And that's why I decided on Buffalo. That was literally it. So
Oh my gosh.
you and I are definitely
That is too
twins.
funny.
There's no question about that. Now, you mentioned getting your first credit card, and I want to tell this story because I think this is really, really interesting. What happened in terms of that first credit card, and how did that shape your relationship with money?
Yes. My first credit card experience was different, but it taught me everything. So I went into a financial institution. I won't even name the one that it was, but I went in to open a checking account and they kept pushing me to get a credit card. And I said no multiple times. And somehow I still ended up with one. And the lady who signed me up for the credit card, she knew she was wrong because she sent me a card in the mail about a week later saying she was sorry. I find out years later, recently actually, that I was a part of a huge scam that this financial institution did over about 16 years, where they were fraudulently signing people up for checking accounts, deposit accounts, and credit cards. So that's how my first experience happened as a college student. And then to top it off, one day I go to the bank to make my payment on the card, but I didn't have enough money in my checking account. And the banker says, "Do you want to do a cash advance?" I'm like, "Sure. If it helps me pay my credit card, why not?" What I didn't know was that cash advances come with immediate fees. The interest rates are high. There's no grace period. So basically, I paid extra money to pay money on a card that I didn't even want and I didn't fully understand. So, yeah,
Wow,
that
that's
was my first
unbelievable.
experience.
I mean, how did that shape your relationship with money? Like, if you look back at it now.
How it shaped my relationship with money. Fortunately, I would say my parents were they taught me the basics of money, right? Like they taught me to manage my credit, pay back what I owe, try not to owe people. So I was fortunately very responsible with my credit card. I had a major car repair that happened shortly after that. So the credit card did come in handy, but it was just how the credit card came about. And I just didn't have the education and knowledge that I should have had before I acquired that credit card. So that's how it really shaped my experience with money. I was very skeptical after that. I didn't trust a lot of financial institutions. I always read the fine print. And when I tell people no, I mean no. I don't settle for less now. I really watch what people do.
Yeah. I mean, I've been watching this show Maxed Out, and you work with all kinds of couples on there, a lot of adults. But, I'm wondering what are some of the big financial mistakes that maybe you made, or even the ones that you see now, college students or maybe young adults that are their first job out of college? What kind of mistakes are people making in terms of their finances?
I think one of the biggest mistakes is really simple. It's just not knowing your numbers. So when I was in college, I wasn't tracking anything really, especially my student loans, mainly my debt. I had no idea how much I owed. I didn't know what my interest rates were. I didn't know what my future payments would look like. I didn't understand forbearance, deferment. It was completely out of sight, out of mind. And I see students doing the exact same thing today, signing up for loans, accepting the money, and not really understanding what they just agreed to. But I think honestly, a big part of the problem isn't even necessarily the students. It's just the system. Like we don't learn this in school, right? We don't understand. We're just sent off into the world as 18-year-olds and given that access to tens of thousands of dollars, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars in student loans, and just told, good luck, figure it out. So there's no real education on how debt works, how interest compounds, or how these decisions impact your future. So of course, mistakes are going to happen.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Yeah. That makes total sense to me. The other
right.
thing too is I see a lot of college students, they're obviously all on social media, they're on Instagram, they're on TikTok, and there's a lot of comparison going on. I see my college buddy is driving a BMW, so now all of a sudden I need a BMW, or I see them going on spring break to Turks and Caicos, so that means that I should be there too because all my friends are there. So, can you talk a little bit about how financial decisions might be shaped by our environment, social media, and relationships?
Yes, absolutely. Our environment totally shapes our how we show up with money. Even from childhood, how we are raised with money has a huge impact, right? And then when you get into college, Greek life specifically, right, is one of the clearest examples of how environment shapes money decisions. If everyone around you is going on trips, like you said, buying new outfits, going out every weekend, it starts to feel normal, even if your bank account is like, no, absolutely not. So people don't always overspend because they're responsible. They overspend because they don't want to be left out. And I understand that as a college student, right? I wanted to do all of the things. So that's why it's really important to be able to stay grounded and really be mindful of the company that you keep.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. Even on that first episode of Maxed Out with Corey, I saw that he was drinking and he was, had all this alcohol that he was putting into his cart when you took him food shopping. And you're like, maybe it's time to give up the drinking. You know what I
Yes,
mean? So
make
like
that
that's the
sacrifice.
environment, right? He's in this
Yeah.
environment where him and his boys are all drinking, and he's like, no, I have a birthday party I have to go to. I have to come with alcohol, and he's spending like a just outrageous amount of money on
Yes.
booze,
Yes.
and you
And
called
even
him
when
out on it.
yes, I did. Even when I was getting out of debt. So I paid off $40,000 debt in 18 months. And one of the things that I had to do was surround myself around people who had already done it or who are actively trying to climb out of their debt because no one else really understood it. They would criticize me, ridicule me, ask me why I was doing it, say it was stupid. So I had to find a new peer group basically while I was climbing out of debt. So yes, environment is everything.
Yeah, I mean, you're so right. And when I look at some of the bigger schools in the SEC, like the University of Alabama, and my daughter actually was considering going to the University of Alabama. And then I started doing research in terms of how much Greek life was going to cost over there, because you have dues, you have social events, you have all kinds of trips. We talked about spring break, where everybody's going, and just certain lifestyle expectations. These students at the University of Alabama, they are literally living in mansions. Okay, there is a
Mm,
chef there, there is a maid there that is taking care of all.
what?
Someone's got to pay for all
Need to
of
go back
that,
to college.
right? I mean, is this where things start to go wrong financially? Is in college when they see all of this?
I think oftentimes it does because again, we just send kids out into the world with no real financial education. And where it really starts to go wrong is when students begin funding that lifestyle with credit cards and with student loans. I had a bunch of friends in college who misused their student loans. So they would get these enormous amount of loans to just do stupid things that had nothing to do with college, right? So they were really misusing it. And so instead of the actual cash flow, people just don't fully understand the long-term cost of those decisions that they're making while they're in school until they graduate and those those student loan payments start to hit.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real with you. We had these fundraisers in college for my fraternity where the more signups we had, the more applications we had completed, the more money the fraternity would make. And one of our fraternity brothers signed up for a credit card. I remember it like it was yesterday. And he was funding that lavish lifestyle on that card. And
Mm,
he totally ruined his credit. And it wasn't until after that happened that I
mm.
realized, oh my God, like, why are we making money signing people up with credit cards? Because our own brothers are going to start to get into debt, and it ruined them. It just
Oh my gosh.
ruined them. Oh, man.
How's he doing now? Do you still talk to him?
I haven't talked to him in a long time. I need to reach out to him and see how he's
Yeah.
doing. But man, I
Please.
remember for like a decade, his credit was,
Oh my
oh my
gosh.
gosh. So if you could give every fraternity and sorority member a simple financial system that they need to follow, given all of these temptations, what would that financial system be?
I would say first, know what's coming in, even if it's small. Whether that's student loans, if you have jobs while you were in college. So when I was in college, I had multiple jobs to keep my student loan debt low. Also, handle your must-haves. So make sure your rent is paid, your dues, your food, those necessities. Also, I'm a big believer in budgeting for fun. So give yourself a spending limit for fun, a small spending limit for fun, and then don't swipe what you can't pay off. Do not get that credit card or don't swipe that credit card if you know you cannot pay it off within the month. And that's really it. You don't need anything complicated right now. You just need a plan that you'll actually follow.
Yeah. It does kind of remind me too. You're talking about all this financial planning. I loved in the show where you talked about talking about money can be sexy. Like you were just like that whole
It is.
part, like to you, like you light up when you're talking about finances. And when you see a young couple talking about it, you get all jazzed up. You're like, look
I
how sexy that
do.
is, that can
It
be.
is. I don't know. Have you watched my TED talk? Have you heard that whole
I watched
story about
I watched parts of it.
okay. Well, it's so important, and people don't realize that because I actually called off my wedding the month of the wedding due to financial incompatibility. Like those money conversations are so important. And if you can talk about money with your partner, you can talk about anything. So I think it is what's more sexier than talking about your goals and your dreams.
That's true. That's true. I do like talking about goals, but like
Yeah.
specifically money, I'm like, I don't. don't know. I don't know if I look at it the same way, but you should think about it because this is your jam. So that should be sexy to you.
Yeah, I'm weird, I guess.
So, I mean, at this point, you've worked in many high-level finance roles. You now lead major financial evaluations on a daily basis. How important are financial skills in somebody's career, regardless of what their major is?
Yes, financial skills are a cheat code. They are absolutely non-negotiable. And you don't have to be a finance major, but you do need to understand how money flows personally and professionally. So in every role I've had, the people who advance the fastest are the ones who can understand budgets, make data-driven decisions, and tie their work to financial impact. So even if you're a marketing major, education, if you can connect what you do to money, you can stand out immediately.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I'm actually an accounting major, believe it or not, and
Okay.
I was bored with the debits and credits, so I got out of accounting because it was just so boring for me. And I am really creative, and I just felt like, the creativity was just like dying on the vine. You know what they do with creative accountants, right? They send them to jail.
No.
That's what they do. So, so I was like, I got to
Right.
get out of here. And eventually became a public speaker. But as an entrepreneur, that foundation of debits and credits and being able to look in real time how the business is doing, how it's performing, balance sheet, income statement, and be able to read it and then do my
Yes.
own taxes, not just personally, but the corporate taxes.
Mhm.
Like these are skills that really help you to run a business. And at
Yes.
any point, I can tell you exactly how much money the company is making or not making. And that is critical. I don't need to pay somebody to tell me if the business is making money or not. Right.
Right. Right.
So that foundation was really, really important in being a good entrepreneur. So speaking of being a good entrepreneur, a lot of these college students, they have great ideas for businesses of their own, maybe a service or a product that they want to bring to market. And they really want to build wealth early. They are like hyper focused. They talk about, things going to the moon, like in crypto and things like that. They want money like fast. They don't want to wait for it. They're not patient. Okay. So for all
Yes.
the students listening who want to build wealth early in life, what should they be focusing on in their first year or 2 years after graduation?
Yes. So when you first graduate, you have something very valuable, incredibly valuable on your side, and that's time and flexibility. So at that age, you're coming out of college, 22 years old, you probably don't have kids, major financial obligations other than your student loans, or a lifestyle that's fully locked in. You're probably not married yet, which means you have room to make the smart moves that can completely change your future. So this is the time to get control of your cash flow, build an emergency fund. You can start small. Just start with $500 or $1,000. And most importantly, start investing early. This is something that I wish I had have taken more seriously because the compounding growth is is what's going to set you up for success, right? So had I started investing how I should have right out of college, I'd be retired right now. I would be out here. I mean, I love my life, but I would be like really living my best life right now had I really understood the power of investing and compound interest, right? Because when you invest early, you're not just investing money, you're investing your time, and that time is what allows your money to grow exponentially. So that would be my biggest thing, and that's really what wealth is, right? It's options and it's freedom. So if you can have a life where you don't have to be stuck to a job, you can be work optional, you can take advantage of opportunities because you're not worried about living paycheck to paycheck. That's really the goal. So again, start as soon as you can, even if it's just a little bit out of your paycheck. Invest.
Yeah, you are absolutely 100% right. I wish I was investing when I just got out of college. I just feel like
Yes.
when I graduated from college, I felt like I needed to buy a really nice car because I felt like I earned it. So I went
Right.
and bought a brand new white Mustang right out of the showroom. And I mean, that thing was a beast and I look good driving it down the road. But I'm like, now looking back at it, I was such an idiot. Like I should have just bought like a beater that can get me from work and back. And I could have put all of that money and invested in it, and then I would have been retired by now. Like, what was I doing?
You didn't know. No one taught you.
Nobody
No one
told me.
taught you. That's the
No,
problem.
no. And that, by the way, those cars, they are depreciating assets. Okay. They do not go up in value. Please understand that. It's so
Yes.
important. As soon as you drive
It is.
off that lot, forget it.
The value goes
25% of
down.
that value is gone.
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh my God, all these lessons. So obviously you host this amazing show. It's called Maxed Out. You can watch it on HBO Max or Discovery Plus. Is there one story or lesson from this show, Maxed Out, that really stuck with you?
I would say one of my favorite episodes is episode 2. Um, and there's a young girl on there. Her name is Lexi. She was a recent college grad, accumulated a significant amount of debt. A large part of it was student loan debt. And actually a theme across the entire season is student loan debt and how many people just weren't paying it, like at all, had not made one payment on their student loans. So that's one that really stuck out to me the most. Also because there's so many people who go to school, right, to pursue their passions, but what they don't realize is that their passion doesn't necessarily pay, right? So they get all these student loans, come out of school with $100,000 in debt, but their career of choice is a starting salary of $40,000, $50,000, and the outlook on that profession isn't good either. It's a profession that's not going to be around much longer. So one thing that I would suggest for people who are in college is it's not just about what you love. It's also about, what does this career pay? What does your debt look like? Can this income from this career support the life that you want and your financial obligations? Because the goal isn't just to graduate, it's to graduate into a life where you can pay your bills, pay down your debt, and still actually live life. So that's one of my biggest takeaways from this season and from episode 2, because real freedom really comes when your income can support your life, not just your debt.
I love it. All right, I'm gonna have to go and watch episode now, number two now tonight.
Yeah,
I'll let
that's
you
a
know.
fan favorite.
I'm gonna have to watch that one. So obviously, students at some point, I'm hoping that they get some financial literacy workshop. And I'm sure you've seen a financial literacy workshop at some point in your life. So what makes your campus programs that you bring to a college campus different from the traditional financial literacy workshops that you've seen?
Yes. So most financial literacy programs focus on just the information. Mine focus on real life application and behavior. So we're not just talking about money. We're actually putting students in real life scenarios. We have these simulations that we use, like this technology where you're actually building budgets and choosing careers and evaluating that career ROI, or that career return on investment. So kind of like what I was saying earlier, you get these student loans, but are you going to be able to get your return from this career? Like, is your career actually going to allow you to pay them off? We're making investing decisions and we're managing debt. Because one of the biggest things that I've seen, especially from my work on Maxed Out, is people being overwhelmed by their debt and just feeling stuck. So we challenge students to think differently. What does your debt look like? Can your income support that? Like I said before. And we also make it relevant. We integrate pop culture and current events. And we focus heavily, heavily on behavior, because money isn't just math, it's habits, it's emotions, and it's environment. So students don't just leave with information, they leave with the clarity, the self-awareness, and a plan that they can actually use.
I love that. That sounds super
Thank
fun. I
you.
mean, just
It is
calling
really
up a
fun.
couple of students in the front and just saying, "Hey, tell me about your major. Tell me about your debt." Like, I want to know. We're just going to
Yes.
plug it into this program here, and everyone's going to look at it at the same time.
Yes, and it's something really cool. When I was in 6th grade, I had this teacher. I don't remember what class it was, but every week she would have us research 2 different careers. So she would give us one career, and then we would pick one, and we would go to. I would go to the library, and there were these books by the Bureau of Labor Statistics, and I would look up the career, and it would tell you the salary for that career, the career outlook, the education that you had to have. So from a very early age, I already knew, like, I wasn't going to be able to pursue marine biology like I wanted to. That's what I wanted to be, was a marine biologist. And at 12 years old, I realized, okay, I'm not going to be able to live the life that I want. So I think that right there is huge. I have a friend who was in college. She accrued about $100,000 worth of debt, and she was a biology major and Russian science, biology and Russian. Yeah, were her two majors, and now she sells insurance. It's like, what?
It's so
What
true.
could you do with that?
Yeah, I have no idea what you can do with that. And there's so many college students that are not doing what they went to school for. I mean, when you
Right.
really think about it, I certainly am not, just because I got bored to tears with accounting. But it is a good major if you want to make money.
Hmm.
Like, you'll always have a job and it does pay pretty well. But
Yes.
boy, oh boy, I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do debits and credits
It's
money
not for
orders.
everyone. It
It's
is not for
not, it's
everyone.
not, it's not, So anyway, but that's all good. So listen, I've really enjoyed this. I think this has been great for our college students. If they want to book you on their college campus, where should they go to connect with you and bring them to your campus?
Yes, you can go to my website, Leah Marie Collins, and there is a booking link. Just complete that link, and there's the survey, and yeah, I'll see it and reach out.
Perfect. LeahMarieCollins.com. Go to the
Yes.
website and bring Leah to your campus. She is the best in the business, and I know she's going to resonate with the college students on your campus. So, Leah, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been such a pleasure.
Of course. And to our students, I know that you absolutely learned something today from Leah because I learned something. So I know you learned something. So please share this episode with your entire chapter. I want you to take the link for this video, throw it in a group chat, put it on social media. You never know who needs to hear Leah's message today. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you on the next episode of the Fraternity Foodie Podcast. Bye for now.